Well, this is going to be interesting. Hi. Are you going to be in the video? Are you my new backdrop? So a little while back, one of my followers on both YouTube and Twitter by the name of Belargosaurus, which, by the way, fantastic name, pointed out the fact that there are these little upgrade kits by a company called Nonnef Productions that are, I'm not entirely sure what else they've done in the past because this is the first I've heard of them, but they have these upgrade kits for a few different Titans Return figures that you can get. I believe it's 3D printed stuff. They have stuff for Hardhead, Chromedome, Mindwipe, Blur, Brainstorm, and Broadside. So, are you falling asleep? You falling asleep back there? So that's 6 different bots, 6 different upgrades. Well, okay, more than 6, because they all have different like tiers and styles of upgrades. Anyway, the whole reason I'm talking about this is because I decided to go ahead and get some of the upgrades for Broadside and Chromedome, because those are the 2 that I had that I felt were worth upgrading. I'm going to start with Chromedome here, because I know everyone's here for Broadside, so I'm going to make you wait, ha ha ha. But no, the upgrades I got for Chromedome were actually very simple. Now, the upgrades that are available on Nonnef Productions, and there will be a link down below to the page, but the available upgrades are the guns and a new set of hands. Now, the guns, I really wanted to get these because they're more reminiscent of the G1 Chromedome guns, and these are so much better than that hideous boat cannon that he has normally. So yeah, he's got these sort of G1-inspired guns with scopes, and they look pretty good. I'm totally into them. Now, the other upgrade that he has, other than just the guns, which are available in several colors, is his new hands that have wrist swivels. So you can actually give Chromedome swiveling wrists. And that is pretty cool. There are a couple of issues with the wrist swivels, though, that I want to get into. So, take out the guns. So, the problem with the new hands that I have is it's a two-pronged issue. First one being the hands they look a little tiny. I mean, they're not that bad, but they just seem a little bit smaller to me. I don't have the original hands handy to I don't have the original hands handy to show by comparison, but they just seem a little bit small. But that's a small, insignificant problem. A bigger problem is the fact that I don't know if it's because of the way I cut it when I took them off the sprue or what, but this particular joint, and I tried putting it in the other arm just to see if like maybe I had it in wrong, but no, this particular joint is just very loose. This one is fine. This one, like, it still bends and everything, but it doesn't flop around. That one, though, yeah. Not a fan of that. But I am a fan of him having wrist swivels and having these neat new guns. So, I mean, ultimately, I'd say the upgrade kit is pretty cool. And these guns can actually work in his vehicle mode, which we'll get to right now. So the fists still fold away the way they normally do. The guns now actually tab into the back because the handles for the guns are actually this kind of semi-squared away shape that actually pegs right into this gap right on the back. And so then it's a little bit more reminiscent of G1 Chromedome in that sense too. And this I also like. I like those I like those guns stored in the car better than the, again, boat cannon. Now I believe these can also peg into the sides here. Yes, they can. It's silly, and I still think it looks better plugged in up here, but it is a thing. It's also nice, like these are actually sculpted so that they can fit right over that back of the car. So a lot of thought went into these. I gotta give Nonnef credit for that. So yeah, aside from the floppy wrist, honestly, I really do like this upgrade kit. Or, okay, upgrades, because technically the 2 fists was one thing and each gun was one thing. So this is technically 3 upgrades in one. But I really do like this. The guns look great. They work in the new hands. They work in the old hands too. I don't have them again to show it, but I did try them out beforehand. And yes, these guns do fit in the old hands. So if you don't want the new wrists, but you are interested in getting the more G1-ish guns that he can actually store on his vehicle mode, you can totally do that. They will fit in his hands. But yeah, aside from the floppy wrist, I really like these kits. It's neat. It's a subtle change, but it's enough that I do really like it. And honestly, with the wrist, as long like you can kind of twist it with the gun in place so that it's not like it'll actually kind of hold itself in place as you mess around with it. So it's not that bad. But yeah, very good set. Thumbs up to Nonnef Productions. Good stuff. So how about we take a look at Broadside? Okay, Broadside was a little bit of a different matter. So with Broadside, there are basically 3 upgrade options. You've got the axe or the gun. Each one is a separate one. Or you can get what they're calling the full upgrade kit, which includes 1 axe, 1 gun, these 2 thigh fillers, and these 2 panels that you can screw over the forearms to cover up the gaps that are there when the fists are out. So, yeah. Guess which one I got? Ha ha ha. Now, you'll also probably notice that these are a little bit different. That's because the whole reason for this upgrade kit, aside from just filling in the gaps or covering up the gaps in the forearms, the main reason a lot of people would get this is because it makes his jet mode actually look like a jet, which we will get into in a moment. Now, I'm not going to bother with the carrier mode because none of this really affects the carrier mode. So, yeah, there's really no reason to think about this. Like, there are pictures you can see on the Nonnef website, which again, link down below. But aside from just twisting the forearms a slightly different way for the carrier mode, because you've got these things, the panels now, there's really no difference between old carrier mode and upgraded carrier mode. So instead, we are just going to go to the jet mode. But first, let's say I do like how these panels cover up the forearms. The gray is a little bit darker, but it more matches the gray of the torso than the gray of the arms, which I think is okay. Like, it's still part of the color palette, so it doesn't stand out too terribly much. The axe just looks great. The gun looks very nice and looks so much better than that translucent blue nonsense that he has by default. So yeah, just the weapons alone are just really nice. So I'll take these out. And so just to go over these real quick, get these wings out of the way so I can move his arms a little bit more freely. Okay, so these, it's just, as you'd expect, you swing them down, put the fists in, swing them up, and that is it for that. There's an odd issue that I'm running into with these, and I don't know if it's just because of the way if I've installed them incorrectly or if it's a design problem, but the screws, like these are screws that come in the figure. These are already there. All you do is unscrew them and then put these on and then screw them back in. I've noticed that it only takes a couple of transformations for these to start getting loose, and I have to retighten the screws. And that's kind of a shame, but I mean, you know, not much you can do about it now. Anyway, let's get Broadside into his jet mode, which is going to look a lot nicer than it did the last time. And here we have Broadside's definitely improved, still a little bit weird, but definitely improved jet mode. You'll also notice I lost my kitten. She wandered off during the process. Oh well. She'd left plenty of hair behind though, so that's a thing. Anyway, yeah, this definitely is a much better look. It's still like super tiny wings, super chunky body, but like the overall look is much more this is a jet than that weird amalgamation from before. Transformation's a little bit different. You need to take the panels, like you keep the legs straight, you take these panels and actually keep them folded out as opposed to in. You bring the arms back as normal, only instead of these bits hooking into the legs, they just kind of sit. So these aren't actually pegged in at all. They're just there. And then you have the axe that actually tabs into the back here by these little tabs here. They actually go into these slots on the rear wings. And lastly, there is the gun underneath, which I don't know what it is. Like I see in the promo shots, it's pegged in there like normal, and it's sitting, and everything's fine. But when I do it, it does not want to stay upright. It keeps tilting one way or the other. But if I put the gun in facing the other way, then it actually... Okay, then it doesn't make a difference. I swear it made a difference at one point. There was a time when I was messing with it, and that actually kept it stable. Apparently not this time. Plug that back in, because it ultimately doesn't matter. But, yeah. So, aside from the not being able to stand straight, even though it seems like it's meant to, the only other real issue I have with this configuration with the upgrades is these arms not really locking in anywhere. I mean, it's fine if you're not, as long as you're not touching them, then you don't have to worry about it. But like if you bump them, you could knock them out of alignment. And I mean, the jet itself still looks a little bit wonky, but that's Hasbro's fault. Now you do have to do a little bit of your own mild tweaking. Like these fins here and these fins here are completely switched around. Like this fin is normally on this leg and it's facing the other direction. And the same thing with these two fins. They're both flipped and facing opposite directions. So you have to pop them off and put them back in new spots in order to get this to work. Otherwise that axe is not going anywhere. But I mean, it works. The axe kind of fills in, like it doesn't completely fill in the gap, but it definitely hides it better. And it's nice for storage. The gun stores nicely under there. It's just a shame that there's not like I don't know. I wish it was a little more stable. That's about it. I will say, I think it's kind of neat how these panels actually they're designed in a way so that these wings will actually fit there. Like that was clever. That was good thinking. Because that could have been, the wings would have to be down slightly and that would be a pain. So yeah, good design choices there. So as I've said, I'm not a huge, I hadn't heard of Nonnef Productions until I was introduced to them because of this Broadside upgrade set, but it's pretty good stuff and actually quite affordable. The full upgrade set for Broadside was only $10. So that's not bad. I'm not 100% sure it was really necessary for me to bother with the full upgrade set, because the arm covers are fine, but they don't really add a whole bunch to it, and covering those gaps isn't as essential a thing to me. But I mean, it's fine. The thigh covers, again, don't really matter to me, but it's still not bad. And yeah, it's kind of, if I had to do it again, I probably would just get the axe and the gun, because you could still do this jet mode with the axe, with just the axe and the gun. Like, you don't need the arm panel covers to do this. You don't need the thigh fillers to do this, though the thigh fillers do bulk that out just a tiny bit in that spot there. But still, you don't really need it. Can't argue with the results, but you could probably just get by with just the axe and the gun if you really wanted. And with Chromedome, I definitely like the guns. You don't really notice the hands when he's just, posing, but it is nice to have that extra wrist swivel there. The guns, though, definitely worth getting if you're interested in something that's not that god-awful gun that he comes with. So that's it. That's the Nonnef stuff. I probably am not going to be getting any of the other stuff for their other Titans Return figures, not because I don't like what I have, just because I don't feel it's necessary for the other figures. The only thing is, I'm like, maybe sometime in the future I might end up getting like a couple of rifles for Brainstorm, but I don't really think it's necessary. So that's going to do it. That has been my look at the Nonnef Productions upgrades for Broadside and Chromedome. Definitely worth it. Again, not entirely sure I needed the full upgrade for Broadside, and I wouldn't say that the wrist swivels for Chromedome are essential, but in terms of just weaponry, Chromedome's rifles look great. Broadside's axe and gun look great. They're in just a huge step above the nonsense that these figures normally come with in terms of weaponry. And it's nice that they actually help to keep Broadside as a triple changer instead of a regular transformer with 2 modes and then 1 piece of junk mode. So if you're interested in taking a look at upgrades for either of these 2 or for the other 4 figures that I mentioned before, Brainstorm, Mindwipe, and Hardhead, there's going to be a link down below for Nonnef Productions. Feel free, look around, see if there's anything you like. I definitely would recommend the weapons. Not too sure how essential the other stuff is, but hey, to each their own. I don't regret my purchases, but just if I had to do it again, I probably would just go with the weapons. But hey, all in all, not expensive, work just fine. So yeah, you get a good amount of stuff and good quality stuff for your money. So that's going to do it. Thank you everybody for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Any combination of those 3 will make me a happy Rob, and I will see you the next time something needs fixing.